Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass. I'm just going to be doing a quick video for you guys today on some of the features that I found in Cyanogenmod that I actually like. Now just to let you guys know that unfortunately I will be putting my phone back to stock today, so I will be doing a video on how to do that using a Mac because it's a little bit more different to doing it on a Windows PC. But I've been using Cyanogenmod for just under a week now, and I just want to give you guys my thoughts and opinions on the build that I've got on my phone here. Now it's not the most recent version of the nightly, it's going to be running the most stable version because I did use the Mac installer. So I'll just go down to About Phone and go into the settings. You can see here that I'm going to be running the Cyanogenmod version 11.0 installer, and then there's some code names after it. So it's not really the most recent version. There are some features that you won't get that you do get in the most recent nightly, and it's not going to be the version that you're going to be getting on something like the OnePlus One, which in my opinion is a far superior version to the one that I'm going to be using, and maybe part of the problem as to why I want to go back to stock so quickly after installing it onto my device. So the first thing that I want to go over is something quite obvious as to why people install Cyanogenmod, and that is the customization options. If I just go over into my settings here, you can see here that under personalization you've got a lot more choice than what you do have normally. On the normal stock ROM you're going to have things like home, I think lock screen is on there, but things like theme and interface you're not going to have. So if I just pop into one of these that we don't normally have, like the interface for instance, you can see here that it's going to allow me to change a couple of things that again you wouldn't be able to on the stock ROM. So if I go into my status bar, you can see here that I can do things like turning off the clock. I can also change how the battery widget looks. So you can see here that I've got a circle in the top right hand corner. You can choose to have the battery percentage in there or to disable it. You can also change which kind of battery you want. So if you want an icon which is portrait, it's going to look a lot more like what you're used to. And also you can have things like the brightness control by sliding across the status bar. Now what I mean by that is if I head back to my home screen and I slide across on the status bar, you can see that it's going to adjust the brightness of my phone right down and then right back up to the brightness of where you want it. Again, not necessarily the most useful thing, because as you can see there, that as I slid across from the top, it tries to bring down the notification tray, which you don't necessarily always want. So in my opinion, there are some good things within the customization options, but some things that you're not going to necessarily always want to have a look at or use. As well as that, in the interface you've got things like the quick settings panel. Now this is something that I really do appreciate with Cyanogenmod because it gives the option to add different tiles to your quick settings menu. So you can see here that I've got expanded desktop, which basically forces immersion mode on the Nexus 5, because obviously you do have the on-screen buttons. What this will do is force every application to be full screen. Now in some instances it does work, something like The Simpsons tapped out, that doesn't work, it kind of screws up down the side. So again, there are some things that work and there are some things that don't work with Cyanogenmod, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. Some other changeable options within this interface are the buttons and the layout, and again this allows you to change the navigation buttons down the bottom here if you're going to be using something like an Nexus 5. So I'll just tap this lock up here to unlock. Click on the plus icon, you can see there that it is quite limited in what you can add. So you can have an empty button which will just put it back to the 3 buttons that I had originally. You can have a search button which takes you straight to Google Now, or you can have a menu button which isn't really that useful on a Nexus device. So if I now add a search button onto there and then just lock it again, you can see now that my navigation bar on the bottom has changed completely, so I've now got 4 buttons. But I'm not sure if you can tell on video, but these buttons are a lot more white and crisp than what you get with this. This is kind of greyed out and not as good looking as these buttons that you see on the side here. And if I actually bring it in closer, again, hopefully you can see there that it's not as good as what you're going to be getting. The resolution isn't exactly great compared to the other icons as well. So that is definitely something to look out for, and that may just be because of the screen, or not being able to notify or detect what kind of screen you're going to be using, like 1080p, 720p and things like that. Another good thing about Cyanogenmod is the ability to cast or record your screen. So you can see here that I've got a screencast application. I have done a completely separate video for this, and I will put a link in the description down below. But this isn't necessarily something that comes pre-installed with Cyanogenmod. On newer nightly versions it will. On the installer version though, unfortunately it won't. You're going to have to join the Google Plus community, you are going to have to download it. And for some reason Barry's had some trouble with this and it won't find it in the Play Store. He can only do it using his Mac and then install it onto the device later. So like I say, there are some things that work, some things that don't. But just overall, me and Barry personally, we've both installed Cyanogenmod on our phone And we are at the point already of wanting to uninstall it, just for the fact that we can't really see that big a benefit to running stock Android or using something like Nova Launcher. Obviously, some things you definitely won't be able to do with stock or Nova. For instance, double tapping on the status bar for me will actually sleep my device. But again, there's no way to unsleep your device by double tapping unless you want to go into installing custom kernels and custom ROMs and things like that. And that's another problem that we've got with Cyanogenmod is you have to install other things to be able to get to where you want to. So if I want to double tap on my screen, that's not built into Cyanogenmod, so I'm going to have to install a custom kernel, which is going to have to allow me to do things like custom recovery and all this kind of stuff that you don't necessarily want to get into and that I personally won't feel the benefit of. I'm quite happy pressing the power button, sliding to unlock. Obviously, if the next Nexus device, like the Nexus 6 for instance, has it implemented, I'm not going to complain, I'm still going to be using it, I don't see any problem with it. But using all these different routes to get to where you want to with Cyanogenmod, in my opinion, it's just a little bit of hard work or something that doesn't really pay off that well. One of the main features that I like, and kind of the last feature that I like about Cyanogenmod, is you can do things to the phone that you can't usually. So you can install certain applications to do what I'm about to do, but with Cyanogenmod it's built in with just an option. So when I'm in the car I like to listen to music quite a lot, so I'm plugging headphones in and out of my device on quite a regular basis. Now one thing that I like about Cyanogenmod is if you plug in a pair of headphones, it automatically launches the music application. So this is great, so if you are driving and things and you don't want to be touching your phone that much, as long as you've got the headphone jack plugged in, it's going to launch whatever music app you want. And the first time that you do this, you can select a music application of your choice. For me, it's going to be Google Play Music, but you can select any music app that you have on your phone. And that's pretty much it, guys, for the reasons as to why I like Cyanogenmod and also the reasons as to why I'm going to be changing away from Cyanogenmod and going back to stock on my device. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing a video later on today which shows you guys exactly how to do this using a Mac, and it is so easy, it's unbelievable. So don't be scared if you've installed Cyanogenmod and you don't know how to go back or anything like that. I'm going to have the video for you guys up in just a couple of hours. So like I say, guys, I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. This has been a quick look at my experience with Cyanogenmod, and I will catch you guys in the next video.